So I'm in business for myself. I do skincare. And for years, I've been renting in other people's places. It got up to about $2,000 a month. And, that's hefty. The rent goes up and up and up and up. While at the same time, what comes back to me from that rent is nothing, really. There's no investment in it. The recession hit all of us. And so coming and making something of my own is an investment not only in myself, but it's an investment for my clients. They get to see something that is highly personal from the ground up that I was able to completely craft based on what I believed, what I experienced with skincare, and what I wanted to create. And it was Modern Shed that helped me make that real. In somebody else's space, I'm confined by what happens to be there already. Whereas with this, I have what is perfectly suited to my needs and to what I wanted to create for my clients, which is not simply a matter of square footage, but also an experience for them. In thinking about how we wanted the shed to look, we had to take into consideration and wanted to the house and how this all fit together. And I think the design of Modern Shed more than lent itself to that. Plus, we were able to put windows where we wanted, doors where we wanted. We were able to completely craft it so that now everything is integrated. It all works together. There isn't one jarring note. It all just sings. And you may have noticed that we've got a walkway there and we've got a gong at the gates, and we created the gates so that there would be this moment where people had to stand there. I believe then that people in the standing and breathing and waiting for me to come and let them in, there's an opportunity for them to drop away from the things that they left behind. And then I open the door and they're here. They're enveloped by the atmosphere, by what's been created. And so they walk through the back, and we redid the yard, added a lot into the yard in order to again have them have an experience of peace. I would say a peaceful experience, because that's what virtually every person says, that it's a gem. It's something you would never imagine from the street. So they come up the stairs, which are deliberately broad stairs, and the pitch of the stairs is a nice, easy slope. So there's no exertion getting up the stairs. And they're welcomed into the space. Again, I just think that it's a visual, that people come in and their senses are suddenly, they're seeing color, they're seeing life with the plants, an edifice that's welcoming, that's pretty, that's different than they expected. And the shed is divided into two areas. One is a reception area, which is quite comfortable and more than set up for their needs. There's also a bathroom here. Separate from this reception room, through sliding doors, is my workroom. And then off of the workroom are French doors that lead out to yet another deck and another set of stairs that bring people out back through the garden and through the gates. So people don't have to see one another. So it becomes a very individualized, very private experience for my clients. They're not a number, they're not taking a bakery number, they're not waiting one after the other, they're not sitting in little chairs with magazines. They are being held one after the other after the other. I happen to think skincare is a profound profession, and this Modern Shed has enabled me to act that out very, very fully with my clients. The laws in Seattle only changed a few years ago so that we actually could have a business in the backyard, and we took advantage of that and built this. They wanted to create density rather than grabbing new land to build on. This had an old garage, a very old garage, and the deck was old. It came with the house when we bought it. So in point of fact, it was the shed that demanded, in a quiet way, she's quiet, the shed, but she demanded to have us step up our game with the yard. So we created this, we changed the deck so that everything now works together. I think people get intimidated by the design process. I think they think, oh well, wait, how can I use this? How can I make this for me? And they don't know. And frankly, we worked with a good friend of ours is an interior designer, and another friend is an architect. So we had them with us in this process. It took us a while to figure out what window was going to go where. And a lot of it is about sitting and feeling what you want to do with the space. And through that process, it becomes this really deeply manifested design process, if you will, that comes from a really internal place. It's not just the practical, how will my clients get in, how will my clients get out? It's how does this function in a way at its highest and best purpose? And I think that Modern Shed Designs lends itself to that. We've thought, for example, of getting another module and making it into a bedroom. But yeah, we've thought of yet another way that we can configure Modern Shed to continue to grow with it. I wonder how many people use their modern shed as an active business. My guess is that more people think of it just as an office, as a static kind of thing, or maybe somebody writes, or maybe somebody does yoga. But the less obvious and really much more rewarding is to use it as an active business, to get out of the office that you're in and to realize that with the space that is available and the way you can configure the shed, you can have a few people working back here actually with private modules. They can still be on their own and have private modules. You can work with several people. Because it's not obvious, I think it takes a little work for people to understand that. You would never think that this kind of thing existed. You certainly wouldn't think that this shed, because I call it the shed with a quite proud voice, I might say, although I hasten to tell them that it's not garden tools that I'm using when I work on them.